Hello everyone and welcome to a new video. As you can see, I have some fairy lights on the back in my bookshelf. I'm not sure if they are gonna stay because I really like warm lights and they're kind of not warm, and I feel like at night they will not help me sleep, and I like just having them on at night. So yeah, probably will change that, but I'm testing it out to see if I like it. But is that a sign? We're just gonna leave it like that. Today I wanted to make my October wrap up, and weirdly enough, October has been one of the months that I have read less, but I read really good books. Some of them. So yeah, I read a total of 4 books, even though I finished the last one on November. I'm gonna count it because the majority of it I read on October. So, and I really just wanted to discuss it with you guys. So yeah, I'm gonna start with my favorite. I'm not gonna say much about it because I did an entire video on it, and it's Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. I loved this book so much, and again, I'm not gonna talk that much about it because I made an entire video dedicated to my thoughts on this book. But to sum it up, I just like Jane Eyre as a character. I feel like she, for the time that this was written, she's very independent and she strives to be her own person, and she has a very solid moral compass, and I just love that so much because she has grown really alone in this world. She has just built this sort of self-love and self-respect for herself that I just admire, and it's really inspiring. If you don't know what Jane Eyre is about, it's about a girl named Jane Eyre, and we follow her from her childhood, since her childhood, as she grows up in the house of her aunt, who is not really kind to her. Jane Eyre did not inherit anything. She's very poor, she's plain, and because of this, her aunt does not love her at all. So her aunt takes her to Lowood school where she can get an education, but this place isn't good as well. But Jane Eyre grows up there, and then she turns into a governess, and it's inspired by Charlotte Bronte's own experience with as being a governess, and I just really love it, and I can't recommend it enough. I can't wait to see more of Charlotte Bronte. I feel like similarly to Jane Austen, I want to space them out. I don't want to run out of her books just yet. So the next book that I'm going to be reading for by the Bronte sisters will be Wuthering Heights. So I'm really excited. I think that Wuthering Heights is, people I think love it more than Jane Eyre, so I'm really excited to see what that book awaits for me. Then, because I was in a very serious reading slump, I struggled to find what I wanted to read next, but I decided to pick up Serpent and Dove by Shelby Mahurin, I think that's how you pronounce her last name, because this was the book for my book club here in Puerto Rico. So we were discussing this book, and I figured, you know what, it's time to read it. It's a romance, and I really did enjoy this book, and I'm glad that I read it. It's one of my favorite books of the year. I sat and read this in like 2 sittings, I think. So yeah, I just laid in this same bed reading for 2 days, and it was great. I loved it. And this basically follows Lou. Lou is a witch, but in this world, witches are not liked at all. They're hunted. So Lou decides for herself to just stop using magic altogether, or to use it as less as she can so that she is not caught and burned at the stake. But circumstances make Lou marry a witch hunter, and it's so good. It's so good. And I was kind of hesitant because of the whole ideal aspect of this book, how the witch hunters really do think that witches are the devil's work and they are horrible and that they should be burned and treated horribly. But I think that the author does a really great job at just talking and addressing it and seeing how basically these two people, as they get married, of course the witch hunter does not know that she is a witch. So throughout the story you get to really see them discuss their ideals and how they understand where each is coming from. But I think that given our current society, it's a really great book to read and to just, I don't know, think about. And we did have a discussion with the author about it, and I asked her because I think that the way that she addresses religion and ideals and how you can basically change someone's mind and ideals about something that they have dedicated their lives to. And she said that it was really tough for her, but that she tried to really carefully address it, and I think that she really did it well. So I really do recommend it. It's a really just trashy romance, and I think it's a duology. I enjoyed, as for the book itself, I enjoyed the middle part, the middle section of the story a lot more than the beginning and the end, because both the beginning and the end are more plot heavy, and then the middle is just the romance and how it blossoms and how they both just, I don't know, they're just so amazing together. And the witch hunter, I forgot his name. I think his name is Reed. So Reed is very solid. He's very strict. He has dedicated his life to this, and you see him the contrast of Lou, who is totally opposite. She's very lively and really vulgar and really just amazing, and I laughed so much throughout this book. So I really do recommend it. I think that the hype is, I don't know, I understand the hype for this book, and it was blurred by Sarah J Maas, so you can already tell why. I mean, it's so good, and I really enjoyed it. I'm kind of hesitant for the sequel because I know that it will be more plot heavy than actually romance heavy, so yeah, we'll see, but I'm really excited. Then I picked up The Crown's Fate by Evelyn Skye, and I really wanted to read this because a couple of months ago I read The Crown's Fate and I really enjoyed it. Sadly, I did not enjoy this book as much. I have many sort of issues with how this book was executed. I think that the premise of it was, or the idea of the things that happened in this book where I don't know, they were good, and I was behind most of them, but they were not executed well, and I'm so just sad about it. Yeah, I'm trying to remember or trying to convey what actually my issues are without spoiling, but I think this is a duology, which I'm glad, because I was even surprised at the end because it was a definitive end. So I guess that this will be a spoiler section because I really just think that it will be better if I discuss this very quickly. So yeah, I will put a timestamp as to where you can go if you don't want to read or listen to any spoilers, but basically we follow Nikolai, as this book focused more on Nikolai and how he, after the events of The Crown's Fate, he's very mad and at how his best friend kind of accelerated the process of choosing the imperial sorcerer, and I understood that. But then we have the process of his mother basically giving him energy, and through this energy she gives him more of his feelings, which is why I'm kind of, I don't know, I wish that the magic was explained better so that we could understand how magic works and how it manifests itself in people. So basically Nikolai begins to change as he receives energy from his mother, who is a very bad person. So basically we follow Nikolai as a villain, and throughout it all it felt so sudden and so stupid that I don't know, I wish that it would have done better. I like the idea of him turning into a villain. I just wish that it was more spread out and more developed, and yeah. But I'm just gonna, yeah, it's sad because I really did enjoy the first one, but yeah, I have nothing else to say. Then I read the classic of the month, which was Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. This is a book that I was supposed to read for high school, but I did not, and I forgot about it completely, and I wanted to read it for Halloween, of course, and I really did enjoy it. It's a very sad book. There's nothing good that happens in this book. But it's just really interesting to see. I like to really think deeply into classics and what goes on into them and what the author wanted to convey and say. And Frankenstein is a story about creation and the consequences of creation, and how basically science can be a power, and science is something that we should be wary about. But yeah, it's just it's really weird because Frankenstein is the story of a monster, and you constantly, or at least for me, I didn't even see Frankenstein, by the way, is the doctor himself. Frankenstein is not the monster. The monster is nameless. You always see him as the monster, and it's weird. I'm gonna try and explain it, but you constantly are questioning who the monster really is. And by that I mean, is Frankenstein, the doctor, the real monster in the story? And he treats his creation so horribly, despite the fact that he himself created it. And it's just it's heartbreaking. It's a heartbreaking story, and I really did enjoy it. I think I'm gonna do a review about it because there's so much to discuss. But yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I can't believe that Mary Shelley wrote this story when she was 18. It's just great. So yeah, those are the books that I read this month, or on October. November has so far been a really tough month to read, and I don't really know what books I'm gonna be reading. I really want to read The Hobbit. I'm gonna consider that the classic of the month, and I also want to read The Fountains of Silence by Ruta Sepetys. I'm currently reading that, so yeah, hopefully this month will be a bit better at reading. But October was a great month. I mean, Jane Eyre and Serpent and Dove are both books that are gonna for sure be on my favorites of the year list. So yeah, please tell me below if you have read any of these books, and if you want to discuss them, I am here for discussing any of them. And yeah, I will see you guys with the next video. Bye!